Welcome to my views and news. An Ethiopian ambassador is criticizing his government, Ethiopian government. He is working on behalf of the government. But a few hours ago, he lashed out at Prosperity Party's government. What did he say? He compared this government with governments of the past. Secondly, Fano fighters are using monasteries as their shelters, it seems. We have received details from some areas where they are based. And thirdly, viewers, another mission consisting of UN and other organizations was stopped by Eritrean military on Eritrea-Tigray border. Humanitarian mission, where was it stopped? Is the area part of Eritrea or Tigray where this mission was stopped? It has been confirmed by UNOCHA that the mission of aid organizations was not allowed by Eritrean army to enter the place. Details for you. Firstly, viewers, an Ethiopian ambassador is criticizing the government. He is Ethiopian ambassador to Kuwait. Kuwait is in the Middle East, a Muslim country with majority Muslim population. And Ethiopian ambassador to Kuwait is Ustaz Hassan Tajo. He's a Muslim, I think. Name is Muslim. And a few hours ago, he spoke about what happened in Addis Ababa yesterday and what has been happening in Shaggar city. He condemned demolition of mosques in Shaggar. He expressed his sorrow that religious institutions are being violated. Then he talked about what happened in Addis Ababa yesterday. In Addis Ababa yesterday, Muslims tried to protest from Anwar Mosque. They tried to take out a rally in condemnation of ongoing demolition of mosques in Shaggar city. Rally consisted of thousands of people reportedly. After Friday prayers, they started this protest. Security forces used force. Security forces fired at Muslim protesters. 2 casualties have been confirmed by Addis Ababa police. In a statement, Addis Ababa police confirmed that 2 died in riots. Addis Ababa police said that some members of Muslim community that tried to fuel riots in Addis Ababa, and forces tried to stop the riots, and in the action taken, 2 were killed. 2 Muslim protesters were killed, and dozens were injured. Injured include members of security forces too. Around 100 have been arrested. More than 100 have been arrested by Addis Ababa police, confirmed by police. We saw statements from Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Supreme Council too, which is backed by Oromia government, Ethiopian federal government. Its head was changed a few months ago. Government backed the change. Amhara region-based Mufti Umar was removed and Oromia-based Ibrahim Tofa took office. Hassan Tajo is a Muslim, that is why I think he spoke. He compared this government with past governments. He said that what is happening to Muslims never happened in the past governments. He expressed sorrow and extended condolences to the families of those who have been killed. It's a very strong statement by an Ethiopian ambassador because he represents Ethiopia. So on behalf of Ethiopia, he is working in Kuwait. I think he could be replaced. He could be removed from his position, it seems. Government will not tolerate such a strong statement from a representative of the government. Let's see. Tensions there in Addis Ababa, but security forces control the situation. Rally was peaceful. Can we say that yesterday's protest was a riot, or that the protester tried to instigate riots? When it started, it was all peaceful. But when security forces resorted to use of tear gas and then they fired at protesters, obviously, then there's always reaction. In that reaction, people might have burned something, set something on fire, but basically it was a peaceful demonstration. But since security forces used force, that is why some might have turned violent. Second, viewers, use of monasteries by Fano fighters is being reported in the Amhara region, that these monasteries are being used as sanctuaries, as shelters by Fano fighters. By the way, Zameen Kasi was arrested from a monastery, if you remember. Skandar was also seen at monasteries after he abandoned, after he said goodbye to politics. He went to Gojam. In Gojam, he was seen at a monastery. And Zameen Kasi arrested at a monastery too. Security forces are raiding monasteries. Debre Ilyas Monastery in East Gujam, Debre Ilyas town, was surrounded by security forces yesterday. Why? Because reportedly there were some Fano fighters at the monastery. And we have seen attacks by security forces on monasteries more than once this year. Trinity Monastery, Tekal Hamanot Monastery in Gajam were also attacked by security forces. Why? Because monasteries were being used by Fano fighters, their supporters, as shelters. And around 2 to 3 weeks ago, I think Debre Ilyas Selassie Unity Monastery was surrounded by security forces. There was exchange of gunfire, and some worshippers, some Fano supporters reportedly were killed. Around 10 were killed back then. Once again, we're seeing the same, that Fano fighters are using monasteries as their hiding places. Security forces are trying to enter the monasteries. And now we're seeing a propaganda as well against security forces. They are desecrating religious sanctity of these places. These places are being used by Fano fighters. That is why security forces are surrounding the religious places and they want to search. So they have right to conduct searches if they have suspicions that the places are being used as sanctuaries, as shelters. But Fano fighters are not just based in monasteries. Now, I have been updating you about their growing influence in Gojam, Agoavi and Matakal zones. It seems that war is from deserts, from forests. This resistance of Amhara hardliners is coming to cities now. They would like to be in a position to start urban warfare. Because obviously if they keep on fighting in deserts, mountains, mountain valleys, it won't bring about any change. So at some point in future, in coming days, weeks, months, they'll try to take control of cities, towns, like they did. They tried to take control of Ihudat in Aguavi zone. They could not. They had to retreat. So I think if this resistance movement continues, sooner or later, we'll see start of urban combat in some areas where Fano fighters are based, I think. Lastly, UNOCHA, United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Ethiopia's mission was stopped by Eritrean forces on Tigray-Eritrea border. It has been confirmed UNOCHA deputy head of Ethiopia was leading the mission. UN organizations and other organizations, INGOs, they were part of this mission to deliver aid to some areas. They started their travel from Shiraro. 16 kilometers from Shiraro is Gemhalo, right on Tigray-Eritrea border, close to Gemhalo. This mission of aid organizations was stopped by Eritrean army, refusing to allow the aid organizations to go ahead. The UNOCHA says that the area where they were stopped is manned by Eritrean army. It seems that again it is a case of disputed border territory. Eritreans are based in, I think, parts of Zilambasa, in Europe. They're in control of Badme, in control of parts of Tahte Adiabo. Why are they here? Is it with consultation and understanding with the Ethiopian National Defense Force? Or is it according to the Boundary Commission ruling which came 2 decades ago and Eritrea is trying to implement it unilaterally? Whatever the reason is, but it means that border issue is unresolved. Ethiopian National Defense Force, Ethiopian government is not trying to be active to resolve this issue. International media is reporting, CNN reported as well that this UN mission was stopped on Eritrean border, on Tigray-Eritrea border, on Tigray territory. So it's the responsibility of Ethiopian government to clarify that where is Eritrean military based now? Is it out of all Tigray, all Ethiopian territories? Because Tigray position is the same. The Eritrean military is still in control of Tigray territories. Eritrea denies being on Tigray soil. Ethiopian government is silent. That is why we're seeing continuation of tensions on border. Thank you for watching.